Corinna Springer is known spiritually as Gian Kamal, Lotus of Wisdom. She has built a career uniting fashion, healing, and consciousness. After decades of representing leading designers through her New York agency Nouveau-PR, she turned inward, becoming a Reiki teacher and merging spiritual insights with creative expression. Her company, Khora Consulting, bridges spirituality and lifestyle through healing collaborations and creative experiences. Through Gian Kamal, Khora, and her community practices in upstate New York, Corinna continues to unite energy, beauty, and awareness, inviting others into the transformative space where creativity meets consciousness. Corinna, over to you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Yoon. And I'm just blessed and honored to be in the presence of such amazing, wonderful souls here. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hello. I don't have a
Gemma,
presentation
Gemma, Gemma,
prepared.
Gemma, Gemma.
Gemma, so good to see you, Rajada. I was witnessing one of your talks a long time ago, and it's about Tantra, and it was really, really important for me. So thank you.
Blessings, 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 blessings always.
Oh, God. So where do I start? Well, first of all, I wanted to maybe share from my perspective, my very humble perspective. Okay, I've been dipping my toes into everything we talked about over the last 10, 15 years. And then I started a deep journey into Kabbalah over the last 4 years. And coming out of it, or at the other end of it more, it's been really interesting to see all the parallels, right, between all the different teachings, all the ways we use our breath to get into the body, the meditations, the mantras, and also the letters. And so there's something that I'm working with and that Yun is aware of, and that is the divine names, 72 names of God. And it is the Hebrew language, Aramaic language, but I see, of course, also the parallel with the Sanskrit and with the way in Kashmir Shaivism, all of creation also came through the letters and through the perceptions, the senses, and everything we touched upon. And so what I have been doing with this Kabbalistic practice, because of course it is a little bit closer to my Western origin, I could have probably gone into learning everything in Sanskrit, and it would have taken a longer time for me. So I was blessed to find teachers here, and I started working with these beautiful letters that really are channels for energy, connecting the upper dimensional and the lower dimensional world, and bringing in that energy into my art, into paintings, and also into fabric, and really having beautiful testimonials of healing experiences with the letters, with the fabric, and just, seeing how this light is now here. This light is what can come through all of us at any moment. And it can be a miracle. It can just happen at this point. And what I also wanted to touch on, since this is what what you have been talking about, is this idea of expanding consciousness and using all of the different teachings, all of the different experiences, and bringing them into a more integrated, integral wisdom. And I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with the gene keys, but maybe that is something that we can use as well to continue this journey of awakening and use the wisdom of the gene keys and the idea that all of what we experience is vibration, and we're simply moving from the mind into the heart, right? or from the shadow frequencies into the higher frequencies. And what's so beautiful about the gene keys and also about Kabbalah is that the inner work that we're doing is affecting the whole because we're part of the whole. And so when we start looking at our own shadow, and in Kabbalah, it's termed the illumination of the left. When we go deep into the Zoharic teachings and we just start looking, what can I do better? Where did this come not from the heart, but from the mind? Where did I calculate? Or where is my giving not real? When we go really granular with all of this and become very specific almost, and work with the divine in prayer and through the Kabbalistic calendar, in my case, we can have miracles happen, and we can start living at an archetypal level of experience. And at that archetypal level of experience, when our intention is, I'm doing this for the whole of humanity, then we are doing it for the whole of humanity. And so we can activate our gene keys, our gates, right? In human design, it's called the gates. And we can bring that awareness to the work and live our dharma, live our archetypal design. And when we are in that archetypal, there's just miracles and things happening that we couldn't even imagine, and blessings and light. And I think that's where we are right now. And it was so interesting. It was like all this talk about AI, and you brought in the singularity. And when that became something I became aware of a few years ago, and then at the same time I was going into the gene keys, I was like, well, this is exactly the antidote, right? It's like we're using the gene keys that bring together all the spiritual lineages in the synthesis. And we use contemplation, for example, inner awareness, prayer, meditation, anything to work with these currents, these energetic currents. Then we can activate the city frequencies, the divine frequencies, the gift frequencies, and we get to that next level in our journey, and we can beat the singularity. So, and I just wanted to share maybe, in that sense, the Rav Berg, I believe, said that the founder of the Kabbalah Center, the singularity in Kabbalistic terms is when we share, when we are, when everyone is sharing, when we are the unity consciousness before anything else. So, and then in a way, and I've experienced it that way, AI is also the light. So it just depends on our way of relating to it as well. So thank you so much. I'm so blessed to be here with all of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Corinna, thank you for your love and service to humanity. And I've known you for 4 years now. And could you say a little bit more about how Gene Key's human design astrology can accelerate person's evolutionary growth for a person who might not have heard of this before, to spiritual
Oh,
technique?
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So it is energy flows where attention goes, right? So when we start looking at certain things, characteristics, symbolics in our astrological chart, whether it is through traditional astrology or the gene keys that are basically highlighting different degrees, a set of 6 degrees. So all in all, it actually is based on the I Ching, and it's 6 degrees per gate. So we have 64 gates, the same way we have the 64 hexagrams. So when we pinpoint our attention to one of the gates that Richard Rudd, the founder of the Gene Keys and a student of human design, he had a transmission coming through him over the course of, I think, 3 days and then 3 years to elaborate on it. All of them have the shadow frequency of that archetype, the gift frequency, and the city frequency. In the shadow frequency, for example, it could be, let's take the example of the 55th gene key. At the shadow, it's victimhood. At the gift frequency, it's freedom. So in the victimhood, it is blaming or complaining and basically not taking responsibility for the state someone is in. And when we become aware of that pattern simply through looking at the gene keys or reading about it or seeing it even in someone else's chart, we become aware of, wait a minute, I have been blaming the outside for this, that, and the other over the past few years. Let me take responsibility. Let me see it as a mirror. Where is the mirror showing me where I need to take responsibility for my state, for my situation, for my finances, for whatever it is? And so every gene key is mirroring something to us that we may not have been aware of. There's a beautiful other gene key, and that relates a little bit to Tantra and the senses, and that is the 46 gene key. The 46 gene key, the shadow is seriousness. So when I first came across the gene keys, and that is in my profile, the 46 gene key seriousness, I was like, that's not a shadow. It's like, oh yeah, it is a shadow actually, because it brings you way too much into the mind as well. At the opposite, at the gift and citic frequencies, it's ecstasy. So when you transform the attachment to matter and to the experience of reality through the mind, and you come into the gift frequency of the heart, then you can actually experience that same energy that was seriousness as ecstasy. So it really is like it's bringing in so much from so many different lineages, spiritual traditions, and even shamanism. And so I encourage everyone to, if they want a practical tool to look at their quote unquote shadows, and also to have more compassion for other people in their lives as they read about their gene keys. It's an amazing, amazing way to start. So to really do the shadow work. Does that answer your question, Yoon?
Yeah, let's ask the audience if do you have any questions? Anybody feel free to ask Corinna a question related to her topic. Yes, Raja. Raja, yes.
Actually, I don't have a question, but I would love to invite you to come and talk to our community if whenever you want. So it would be great to come and,
Oh,
we
I
have thousands on YouTube and hundreds in our community. So it'd be great for you to come one Sunday and talk to us. All right.
I would love that, Raja.
I will be in
Thank you.
touch. I'll be in touch. I'll be in touch.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Any comments? Question? Yes, Christian, go ahead.
As I was like listening, and I think that you were like referencing like money and different kind of things like with the shadow. And I know, so I guess like if you like elaborate a little bit more about like the necessity, I guess in Kabbalah about like the resistance of the shadow to this other side of the thing. And like I guess like gaining because it sounds like transmutation in a specific way of like
Yes.
taking this like, you know, impression that might come from somewhere else. I guess like for myself or, my feelings around money could have come from a societal, story, and then like the way of transmuting that story into, on the other side of what you're talking about, is the gift. And then so I guess like just that, gaining the initial awareness, I guess, in all these different parts of your life. If you could just like expand a little bit about that.
Oh,
Corinna. Thanks.
absolutely. Yes. I think if I understand your question right, it's very much about, becoming aware of certain subconscious belief systems that we're not even aware of it, right? Because society is imprinting us with certain things, and we have cultural programming, we have political, societal programming, we have so many programmings and experiences and trauma and past life and this and that. So it's like all of this lives in our subconscious mind. And I like to always take as a symbolic help, we have our physical body, we have our etheric body that stores everything. We have the emotional body, mental body, and spiritual body. And those sort of form our lower bodies, right? And then we have the upper spiritual causal and all of that, Buddhic. And when we become aware through tools like the gene keys, or just meditation, or just becoming aware of, wait a minute, this situation is repeating all the time. What is it teaching me? So we become aware of a certain belief system. Well, what do I believe that I'm experiencing this all the time? What must I believe that I didn't know about, that this is happening all the time? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's helpful. Thank you. That makes sense. Yeah.
And then I have a specific thing that I teach, and that is vow breaks. So once I have that, I'm a victim of, or I'm being bullied by my finances, right? I'm not just being bullied as a child, as a teenager. It continues actually with my money situation, for example. So if I have that belief, I'm being bullied by the outside circumstances, whatever it is, there's a simple formula that I usually bring in, and that's called a vow break. I rescind any and all vows, agreements, contracts, oath, subconsciously, consciously pertaining to. And then I put in that negativity of like being a victim to financial pitfalls or crisis or whatever it is. And with the energy work that I'm doing, I had an experience in 2014 where I was sort of downloading all the light. I was led up the tree, and then it was just the tree of life, and then this energy came down, and it took years and years and years and years to integrate. But I'm using this energy in transmissions to help with with these vow breaks, for example, so that we can cut through it. I know Richard Rudd says contemplation, being patient, being embodied, and I'm like, no, let's use the light. So, does that make sense? Does that resonate?
Yeah, it does. I also had like a 2014 experience. I was just like, oh, that whole
Oh,
thing.
awesome.
But yes,
Okay, cool.
yeah. But that was so,
Let's talk.
that was so helpful. Thank you.
Awesome. Yay. Yeah, I'm happy to connect.
Anybody else with any questions for Corinna? Cool. Corinna, I have a question. I know we have been doing meditation for now 3 years. Could you briefly say, with the intention to inspire our audience who might be going through suffering right now, how did you get started with this looking inward path? You started from the fashion industry, and you spoke about that.
Thank you for that question. I was sick. I was in terrible physical pain for a year and a half. Endometriosis, cysts. I couldn't eat anything. I had to change my diet drastically. I thought I would never be able to eat normally again. And I I was bedridden. I had to put everything into the hands, the very capable hands of my assistant at the time. I experienced a miraculous healing through internal work, through realizing all these belief systems and vows that were in place about being a woman, about pregnancy, about all kinds of things that created the illness. And, I'd been already a Reiki teacher at that time, so my channels were kind of open, and I kind of taught myself how to go into the inner realms and to figure out what archetypal things were happening, what needed to change, how I could change it. And one of the most important things was self-love at that time. And after the miraculous healing, I was just inspired to, go to the next level with all of this. And then the living light happened. But in the meantime, it was like, I can't be in fashion anymore. It's too superficial. And this is more important to help people see that these other realities exist and that they actually are the cause, or that the cause for a lot of suffering is at these higher levels or deeper levels of reality and not in our physical 3D experience. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I love that period of your life fueled you to move forward into the light and build Dharma and community. Lovely. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Cinda, please.
Yeah. Hi, Corinna. Thank you so much for that. I had a question in regards to doing inner work. Do you feel like when you do that sort of inner, almost like a washing inside where you're sweeping all the conditioning and changing your belief systems, when you do that, do you feel like you're bringing an actual change in the physical surroundings around you, or is it purely internal?
No, it's absolutely, it has a very effective change on the outside, and it usually starts with feeling a shift energetically after the session or after the vow break, or whatever you're doing. And then you can see how people around you change also because your belief systems have changed and certain situations don't occur anymore because you kind of learned your lesson and you realized, wait a minute, I don't need to be that anymore for that person. So then they stop doing that as well. Like they stop, bullying you, if that was the case, for example, to take back that example. Does that make sense?
Yes, it absolutely makes sense. Thank you so much. That was just so
My pleasure.
yeah.
All right, Corinna, how do we find you?
Oh, my website is khora.co, which is khora.co. So not .com, .co. Then Instagram is Heart-Based Reality, I believe.
Cool. Thank you very much, Corinna.
Thank you.